Greetings, it's Brother Cam. We back. And before we get started, let's go ahead and get us some libations going. Alright? To the Holy Mother, Ashe. To the Holy Father, Ashe. To the cosmic ancestors, Ashe. To the terrestrial ancestors, Ashe. To the spirit of the earth, Ashe. To the element of the fire, Ashe. To the element of the water, Ashe. To the element of the air, Ashe. We ask as we pour these libations that the ancestors come through, protect us as we are in this age of nothingness going into somethingness. Peace out and love. Ashe. Alright, let's move this out of the way so we can get started today. Now, before we get started today, we need to finish up where we left off with the last lecture, video, whatever you want to call it, and where we had you guys do the energy exercises. And the main purpose of this energy exercise, if you noticed, when you exhale, you should have felt the energy in your hands move. Like I said, either you're going to feel the warmthness increase, you feel pulsations, you feel heat. The whole purpose of the exercise is to get your conscious mind to see that your breath is used to push your energy through your body. When your breath starts, when you stop breathing, the energy leaves. We had someone who gave us a great answer, which was a secondary side effect of that. The more you do this with your energy and practice with your breathing, what you do is balance the hemispheres of your brain. So we do have some bodies out there who've been studying themselves, and they understand and they know what time it is. So let's move forward. Today, what we want to deal with, first of all, before we move forward on today's lecture, let me say this. You know, my son went to Africa over the Christmas break and New Year's, and you know, while he was over there, he came back with this. This is an African mask. New. See, you see your brothers and sisters across the water thinking about you. Are you thinking about your brothers and sisters across the water? They're thinking about us. Alright? So I just want to bring this out, show you that we got much love from our brothers and sisters over there in the motherland. They thinking about us. They know what we like. Alright? So let's move forward. Now, we know that you're not supposed to believe nothing you hear me say. I'm strictly for entertainment value. But let's keep this in mind before we move forward on this. And that is that the concepts that we're dealing with are hundreds of millions of years old. And what happens over time? Over time, concepts get squoze down, to the true and original meaning of the concept. So if you had 10 people in a room, and you started on one side, you whisper something in one person's ear, you told them to whisper to all the way around the room. What the first person said will not be exactly what the last person said. But every time it comes around from one ear to the next ear, something is lost in the translation. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand with all these concepts that we're dealing with. Now, another thing that we must understand as black people, aka Hebrews, that our ancestral knowledge has always been demonized in the Western world. We must understand this. When we watch movies and things like that, we always see the evil stuff is our stuff. Now we need to understand some basic concepts, and that is that you got two types of people here. You got physical man and spiritual man. Okay? I'll let you figure out who's who. But what I'm trying to get at is that the physical man, his God, is a spiritual man's devil. The spiritual man's God is the physical man's devil. What you have is like a coin. You got one coin, but it has two perspectives. It has the heads and the tails. Okay? So when I'm finished, the reason I'm showing you this is because we as so-called Hebrews, we as so-called black people have been programmed to hate the essence of our ancestral knowledge, our ancestral symbology. So I'm telling you this, so when we talk about the root races here, some of y'all are going to reject what I have to say based upon our present day programming. We need to understand that we need to be deprogrammed in order to accept the Christ consciousness as it was meant to be. So, deprogramming. We must deprogram ourselves. Deprogram. The psychology aspect of us is bad. We psychologically we're in a bad state, so we need to reprogram ourselves so we can truly understand who we are, so we can truly understand the Christ concept that's within us that is at this time awakening. So we're going to show you some things here, and we need to understand a little bit of history, because what we're going to deal with today is the book of Enoch. Alright? Now Enoch was one of the generations of Adam. In Genesis chapter 5, you are given the generations of Adam. From Adam to Noah was 9 generations. As we see in Genesis chapter 5, they lay 6, 7, 8, 900 years. We need to understand that was a time. We understand that the planet has been through 4 creation cycles. The Bible witnessed the last creation cycle with the flood of Noah. All those ancestrals, the patriarchs, in Genesis chapter 5, are known what's called as the antediluvian kings. There was a time when the gods and human beings was on the planet at the same time. This is why you will go to Genesis chapter 5 and you will see beings that lived 5, 6, 7, 800 years. Those were the gods. So now we need to understand that Enoch was the first prophet. Enoch lived before the flood of Noah. They say Enoch at 65 begot Methuselah. At 365, Enoch no longer walked with man, for Enoch walked with God. But what they don't tell you is Enoch was going up and down between here and heaven, writing everything down. He was also referred to as the scribe. Alright? So now, we need to understand then, if you talk to anybody who's been to theology school, they will tell you that we understand that Christianity is 6,000 years old, but they do not recognize the first 4,000 years of Christianity. And then, in 100 AD, they had what was Emperor Constantine had what was called the Council of Nice, where they decided to canonize the Bible, decide what books to keep in and what books not to keep in. All right. So